And the question isn't just how much you spend, it's how you spend it. And I think the key is, Congress has reacted remarkably, so has the Fed, in many ways. But there's still more work needs to be done, both on driving pressure on this vaccine, but also helping us return to, normal lives and a healthy economy. And that's where I think the focus ought to be. And right now, it just seems like people are pushing in $1 trillion or taking it off the table or talking about it when we really ought to be focused on, look, how do we reconnect workers back to their job? How do we help businesses create safe, healthy workplaces for their customers and their workers? How do we make sure we do have businesses, small businesses, mid-sized businesses, even some of the distressed ones who continue to need some help? And I think some targeted, smart policies will work. And I'll just say this. Look, we've got nearly 6 million job openings. In most years, that would be a record. Most of our small Main Street businesses are begging for workers to come back. We need to have an economic policy that reconnects workers to those businesses. That ought to be the focus.
What would you tell Nancy Pelosi needs to come out to make it possible to compromise on something? What specifically is in that $3 trillion that will not be acceptable to Republicans no matter what?
Well, I think there are a number of those provisions, but maybe I would start over with, rather than let's pick a number and just stuff spending into that, what do we really need? And if you start from that standpoint, I think the Senate bill created some very immediate, practical, targeted relief that can be very helpful, both on healthy lives and a healthy economy. I think that's an excellent starting point. I do think, the president's actions, I'm pretty sure he didn't want to have to take those steps, but we've had 6 weeks of inaction. The House isn't supposed to come back till mid-September. There's people that are hurting and businesses, taking that action, I think was pretty crucial. But Congress, can remove a lot of this uncertainty by moving to a package really this week. I mean, we ought to be moving now.
Yeah, I don't know what the prospect. You know better than I what the prospects are of doing that. When we talked to Secretary Lew, former Treasury Secretary, the question I asked him was, have we passed the point of where we just say we need to pull out all the stops and just spend whatever's necessary? And can we take the recent action in the stock market almost at a new high? Is that predictive of an economy that is showing signs of being able to stand on its own 2 feet? Or is it a stock market that's just responding to all of the things that have already been done and what the Fed has done and everything else? Because my point to him is that maybe this is the time to start tightening the belt a little bit and trying to get above stall speed and take the training wheels off. And if it's a strong economy, it ought to be able to stand on its own, and we probably shouldn't spend that much more money, given what we've already spent.
Yeah, and Joe, just listening to you in the conversations we've all had, can you imagine, a few months ago that we would be talking about, another trillion on top of $3.5 trillion that we've already injected, plus the Fed's liquidity? Who would have ever thought that would be described as being a conservative, figure? It is an enormous figure. And if you apply it well and smart, look, we can help here. We can help on long Main Street. So, look, I don't think it's a case of pick a number and that'll fix the economy. It's just we're not at that point. And the truth is there are still a lot of the dollars Congress already allocated that haven't been spent yet and aren't getting used yet. So, look, just let's be smart about this.